Hello everyone and good afternoon. Welcome to your Style and Confidence Live at 2 on a Monday. So, we're here again and it's Monday, the weekend's flown. I hope you're all doing all right. While we get a few people online, I'd just like to do a brief introduction. I'm not going to go on too long because I bet most of you know who I am. But I am Gregory and I'm a Style and Confidence Coach. I'm not your average style and confidence coach. I don't believe in having to be a certain size or a certain weight to look good in clothes. I believe that if you're wearing the right clothes for your body shape, you can look good. I also believe that with just the clothes, you still won't feel good if you don't dig deep and explore the issues that are really stopping you from feeling good and allowing yourself to be the woman you really want to be. Which leads me on to what today is all about. It is Self-Love Week and Wednesday is National Self-Love Day. So today I wanted to talk about self-love and I wanted to give you my tips on the things I do on a daily basis to help to really love myself and give you some ideas of the things you might want to question about the way you think of yourself to help you build your self-love and get yourself towards feeling more confident and at ease with who you are. So, as a bit of background, for those of you that are new to me, you won't know what my background is. And my background is that I used to have very, very poor body image, very low self-esteem, and I just lived with it. I had no idea why I felt the way I felt. In fact, I didn't really know I was feeling a certain way. I just knew that I used a number of tools to try and make me feel better. And they didn't work, which is why it took me till the grand old age of 24 to even have a clue that the behaviours that I was taking part in were negative and self-sabotaging. So, yeah, to give you a bit of background, I had this low self-esteem. I didn't really know it was low self-esteem. All I knew is that I didn't feel good enough. And I had been brought up in a family with stepchildren. There were 4 of us and I had a stepsister. And this is me doing a lot of work on myself, going all the way back to the real root cause of why I had low self-esteem. I had a stepsister and she was a lot thinner than me, in my eyes a lot prettier than me. She always used to have the boyfriends, she was successful, she was creative, she had her own little radio station in the bedroom. And at that time, I felt quite alone and I felt like I wasn't really good enough in comparison to her. So as I got a bit older, I had that going on at one home and then I started to develop problems with my body image whilst reading my mum's magazines. And this is by no name a blame game. I don't blame my mum at all, but she was reading magazines and these slimming magazines were telling me, you know, you had to be a certain weight to be successful. These women had achieved because they'd lost weight, you know, all the success stories in there saying how, you know, these women went on to have better lives, happier lives because they were slimmer. And as a result of that, you know, I sort of started to grow up with this comparison syndrome. I was then comparing myself to people who'd lost weight. I was then very aware that I had got a bit of puppy fat at that time. I went on to start sixth form where the super slim, beautiful girls were all on diets and they all had boyfriends, and I, around that time, was rejected by this guy that I'd fancied for ages. And I lost some weight on this extreme diet that I'd followed, which the other slim popular girls had told me about. And the guy I wanted to go out with asked me out. So then that gave me another issue to contend with, an association that losing weight would lead to being happy, accepted and popular. So that was sort of my story. I'd got all these underlying issues and even at 24 I hadn't discovered why I felt that way. It was only through self-development, exploring these things, listening to coaching and really unpicking the story of my life basically and trying to go back to where these issues started to evolve. So yeah, it was a real struggle for a long time. And, you know, I'm sure my current boyfriend won't mind me saying this, but it was really meeting my ex-husband that made me realise that, oh, okay, you know, I can be loved. There is someone out there that would love me. Because I'd had, you know, a plethora of bad boyfriends who cheated on me, had secret lives, and any of my friends that are watching will know exactly what I mean. You know, it was a really tough time for me, probably from the age of about 16 to 24. I was having a great life, I was a flight attendant, but deep down, I was having these boyfriends, going out and getting drunk. I'd got an eating disorder that I was living with. Inside, it was really tough. And during that time, I did a lot of things that I thought would make me happier. And I did everything. I took laxatives, I took slimming tablets, I took tablets. I didn't even know what they were, but they said they would make me slimmer. I had a breast reduction and uplift. I tried liposuction. I had my birthmarks removed, and not many people know this. So I want to share this because what I want to reinforce is that all those things I didn't actually get to the root cause of why I didn't love myself. They worked on the outside, and, you know, temporarily I might have lost a little bit of weight, and then I'd probably put it back on and, you know, patch things up, or it might have made me feel confident enough to go out and, you know, hopefully find someone to love me. But ultimately, they were just working on the outside, and they weren't really doing anything with what I was trying to patch up, which was, you know, insecurity, comparisonitis with everybody I came into contact with that I thought was slimmer than me, more beautiful than me, more popular than me, richer than me, had a nicer boyfriend than me. And it was a real struggle. And even going on to then get married and have kids, what I realised throughout my marriage, and especially afterwards, was that, you know what? Even if somebody loves you, that's not always the problem. The problem is whether you love yourself. And it got me working on the inside then. And I didn't know where to start with it. And I'm going to share some tips with this video. So if you're liking what you hear so far, please do like this video, share it. Hashtag replay if you're watching it this evening. I do appreciate it's the middle of the day. I'm going to share with you some tips that I used, because I realised that it was all well and good people loving me. You know, my parents loved me, my friends loved me, my kids loved me, but there was still something niggling at me, and I needed to get to the bottom of what it was, because even once I'd got my new boyfriend, who is lovely, I still felt like I almost had this dependency on somebody to make me feel good enough and to make me love myself. And I knew it was something that I needed to work on. And I really then decided to commit to figuring out simple ways, without having to go to therapy or counselling, that I could figure out how to love myself a bit more. And, you know, I am so proud that I have reached this point where I feel untouchable, invincible. I feel like if I lost everything, you know, material around me, and I only had myself, I would be happy and I would love myself. And I can see Steph's online giving me some hearts, and I know you'll really relate to a lot of this, Steph. So everybody is born as a blank canvas. And, you know, this is why it's so important how we talk to our children and be aware of the language we're using around our children. We're all born as a blank canvas, and it's our experiences in life which create beliefs about ourselves. And these beliefs can come from a whole range of experiences as we're growing up. You know, it could be sibling comparison. You know, you could have been being compared to your more academic sibling, your sibling who was better at football, your sibling who excelled in something. You may not have been praised as a child. You may have had really results-focused parents who, you know, weren't interested in your creative side. They were more interested in whether you were getting A's in your exams. And you may have just not felt worthy in that way and not good enough. And another thing that, you know, might have led to someone having poor self-esteem is abandonment issues. And get a pen and paper if you want to write any of these down, because if any of these are triggering you, there's the internet out there for you to start looking into these things. Google is a great resource. But abandonment issues are really big. And if a parent has abandoned you as a child, and what I mean by that is it doesn't mean they ran off and they got the next bus to London. What I mean is if your parents separate and you feel abandoned in some way by one of those parents, you can feel really alone, or you can feel not enough. You know, you may feel like you weren't enough to make your dad stay, or you weren't enough to keep your parents together. And again, that's why it's so important that we nurture our children when we're going through these, you know, tough times. It could be you've got abandonment issues from a relationship. If your husband's left you, if your partner's left you, and they left you for a slimmer model or what you would see as a more beautiful woman, you will have abandonment issues and you won't feel enough. So these are all things that just layer upon layer on someone's self-esteem and chip away and can make you feel not enough. So no matter what clothes you put on, you won't feel good enough. Or you may feel like, I'm not good enough to wear those clothes that I want to wear, or to wear that print, or to look that sexy, because your self-worth is going to be low. So we've got comparison, and that could be, again, siblings. It could be work colleagues. It could be comparison that you draw amongst your peers, or it could be school mums, or it could be anyone. We've got abandonment issues. We've got our romantic relationships, and some people can still be in relationships where they are suffering from mental abuse, you know, where their partner, you know, puts them down all the time and, you know, doesn't make them feel appreciated and loved and good enough. And that person will eventually get downtrodden and feel like they're not enough. So if someone's directly telling you you're not good enough, you know, you will start to believe it. And it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you hear something, the more you will believe it. So it may be that when you're comparing yourself to other people, you might be comparing yourself to people you deem as successful or more successful to you. It could be celebrities. It could be colleagues. It could be the classic old school friends on Facebook who are living their best life, who are telling everyone, you know, what fantastic 5-star holiday they've been on that you can't afford to go on. And you will start again to feel like, I am not enough. And those 3 words are key, and I'll tell you why. A very, very famous therapist called Marissa Peer developed something called rapid transformational therapy. And she believes that every single addiction or dependency or habit, negative habit, is derived from 3 particular beliefs that we have about ourselves. Okay, so this would come under eating disorders, alcohol addiction, drug addiction, anger management. It would comprise of exercise addiction, any addiction at all. And these 3 things really helped me to sort of delve deeper into why I'd had a problem with food and why I'd had a problem with control, and it made it so clear for me. So get a pen and paper if this interests you, or if you would like to explore this yourself. So Marissa believes that the number 1 reason is people feel they are not enough. So as we've gone over those things about comparison and abandonment issues and our relationships with our partners, I am not enough. If you're saying I am not enough to yourself, or thinking that repeatedly, you will reach out to a crutch to make you feel like you're enough, or to make you feel comforted. So if you're saying you're not enough, it could come from a range of those things. So I am not enough is number 1. Number 2 is I am different. And this could be anything. So it could be, for me, I'd got birthmarks on my body and I felt that I was different. I wasn't as attractive. They made me different. They didn't make me the same as everyone else. And I used that as something to beat myself up with. And I am different needs to be seen in a positive way. Think about the way that you'd want to talk to your child when you discover there's something different about you. You know, we have to find the good in the difference. And what I've discovered in myself over time is that, yeah, do you know what? I am different, and I'm good different, and I can offer something different to so many women out there. You know, when I was growing up, I wasn't your classic academic person. I could get good grades in psychology because that was what I'm passionate about. That's what I'm interested in. Could I get, well, I got a B in maths, but still, I'm not naturally mathematical. I'm not very good at drawing. And there were so many things I wasn't good at. And I felt like, well, if I'm not going to be a lawyer or a doctor or a nurse or a solicitor or a banker or an accountant, what am I going to do? I'm a failure. I'm different. And it took all this work on myself to create Style Guide and create something which I was proud to be different for. So if you're telling yourself, I am different, you need to write a list of why you think you're different and, you know, really look at those things and can they be seen as a positive? And if you feel it's a negative, you need to start working on why you feel it's a negative. You know, it really is down to you to do the work. Like, I'm giving you the foundations. I'm giving you some tips on what you need to be thinking about. The third thing is, and this is another really, really important one, is what I need is not within my reach. So, for example, I want to be 8 stone. It's not within my reach. So I'm going to beat myself up all this time because it's not possible. I'm not going to wear nice things because I'm never going to be a size 8. I'm not going to go on those nights out because I'm just not the thinnest, because being the thinnest is out of my reach. If you keep telling yourself what you want is not within reach, you will have low self-esteem because you'll feel like you're not good enough. So if what you want is not within your reach, break it down. Break it down into some smart goals that are measurable and achievable. Put a time on them and work on those small goals. Don't just go, well, I want to be a millionaire. It's out of my reach, so I'm going to hate on myself. Say, look, you know, I want to earn X amount and that's my next goal, and work on that. So just as a recap, I am not enough. I am different, and what I want is not within my reach. Write those down and see if any of those trigger anything for you. See if they resonate with you. See if you can think of a reason why you feel different, and if the reasons why you can't lose weight, are addicted to self-sabotage, eating, smoking, drinking, whatever it is, if that reason is because you feel you're different, you need to figure out why you're different and start accepting that. Because you know what, I'm different and I totally accept that. I used to get told, you talk too much, you never shut up. Do you know what, that's true. And I own it. I absolutely own it. Yeah, I do talk. But I can think about what I say, and I'd like to think I don't just talk shite. I think I talk when I need to talk, and what I say is valuable. So don't beat yourself up. If you're different, own it and explore it. So what I want you to do today is a bit of a challenge is have a look at those 3 things. And my tips is for you to identify why you have a lack of confidence and why you have a lack of love for yourself. Go through Marissa Peer's 3 questions. I am not enough. I am different, and what I want is not within my reach, and start to identify. My other tip is to assess your dynamic in your relationships. So I'm talking about your relationships on a romantic level. Assess your dynamic with your partner. You know, is it balanced? Are you aiming for win-win scenarios, or is there a constant compromise where you feel ground down and you don't feel like you're enough? So assess your romantic relationships, your peers. Assess your peer relationship. Are you hanging around with women who are self-deprecating, who are obsessed with this skinny ideal that is really, not a happy life, and it's like this unachievable thing they're chasing? Assess your parental relationships. It's fine to have frank conversations with your parents if you feel like you can do that. Talk about your childhood. Talk about, how you feel as an adult now. Talk about how they might have made you feel. I'm sure my mum at some point watches these videos and, thinks, oh God, Joy went through so much, but that's fine. All is forgiven. It's nobody's fault. It is just a case of getting through it and identifying it. So assess your romantic relationships, your parental relationships, your sibling relationships, and your peers. And look at what you're surrounding yourself with. So my third tip is to start with self-development habits. I just didn't get to where I am today reading one book. It is a habit for me. We call them gap habits, where we do things in our dead time, driving, putting our makeup on, sat in the bath, listen to self-development podcasts, listen to things that people who have done it themselves are sharing with you, like this video. You know, if you know someone who is feeling down, share this video to them, because it might be that that could be the start of their self-love journey. Read books, listen to podcasts, listen to people who've done it themselves, who have been successful, and practice affirmations and gratitude daily. It might feel like woo-woo, and yes, it felt like woo-woo to me. But if you are grateful, you cannot feel negative. And I know there are big things going on. People are ill, people get cancer every day. I know it's terrible, but be grateful for what you have, because that's not happening to you, hopefully. Be grateful for the people around you, for your children, for the house that you've got, and, you know, real simple things. Because when I draw on my gratitude is when I feel best placed to help other people and to share it with others. And have a social media clear out. Get rid of anyone on your Instagram or Facebook that makes you feel bad about yourself. Unfollow the braggers. Unfollow the people that, you know, are showing off about fitting back in their size 8 jeans. If that triggers you to feel like you're not enough, unfollow them. They're allowed to post that. That's not an issue. But if it triggers you, unfollow it. Instagram, go through there. Don't be following these celebrities that make you feel like what you want is not within your reach. Unfollow. Only follow people that uplift you and make you feel good about yourself. And finally, this is a bit of an odd one, and maybe it's not for everyone, but my 4th tip would be to get connected to your body. Now, just look at it. Look at your body's shape. Put on lots of different clothing, see what looks right, and find the time to accept it. You know, if you've been through childbirth and your body's different and your boobs hang a different way and your thighs wobble a bit more, they are the facts. You know, start to look in the mirror and be like, do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to accept my body as it is. Because if you're not losing weight and if you're not going to the gym, nothing's going to change. But what can change is whether you accept it. You are in control of that. And then from there, the work that I do with you in terms of picking the outfits out for you, helping you find things that really balance your body shape, will go hand in hand. It's no good having the clothes if actually you do not love the body. And do you know what? I've taken a lot of women shopping and they look fantastic and they'll accept that they like what they see in the mirror. However, they haven't done enough work in here. And it's something which is ongoing. You have to carry on doing the self-belief and the self-love work at work. I do it all the time. I am still doing it. But what I can tell you is that once you start working on your self-love, you will feel completely different. You'll start saying no to things that you don't want to do. You'll start saying yes to things that you do want to do. You'll start trying things and really feeling worthy of all the things you didn't feel worthy of before, wearing certain things, attending things, going to parties, you know. Or for me, what it empowered me to do was go, do you know what? I'm absolutely cool as I am. I'm happy. I don't need to feel that I'm doing everything, going everywhere, being something to everyone. It actually really empowered me to just be myself. So, as a little recap, I will just go through the recap in case people are just jumping on now. What I want you to know is that there are 3 questions that you need to explore when it comes to addiction. 1, I am not enough. Ask yourself, do I feel I'm not enough? I am different. Do I feel I'm different? And if so, why? And what I want is not within my reach. Do you feel like what you want is not within your reach? Because if any of those trigger you, think outside the box with those questions. You need to start digging. Because what I will say, sat here today, is that self-love is truly possible. No matter where you are now, you can wipe the slate clean and start to grow it. And I think one of the real epiphanies that I had was when I discovered Katie from Beauty in the Boutique, and she'd got terrible psoriasis, but her style knocked me dead. And I loved everything about the person that she was inside and the person she was on the outside. And she was struggling with her skin and her self-confidence, and she had overcome it. So for any of you watching this that think I can't do it, I've overcome it. I'm still sat here with scars and stretch marks, and I'm not a size 6 or a size 8. You know, I am not what I used to deem as the perfect body or person, but do you know what? My self-love tank is at the top. And anybody who knows me knows that that's not me showing off, that's not me bragging, that is me just telling you what can be achieved if you work on it. Nothing is impossible. Go to Marissa Peer's website, I'll link it below, and look at some of her free stuff. It's really, really valuable. And, you know, if you think that somebody you know doesn't love themselves, please share this video to your timeline, because it may be that this helps someone to go right back to basics and figure out why they don't currently love themselves. Because as women, and guys of course, but I'm talking directly to women, it's so effing important that you love yourself, that you don't settle for anything less than the best, that you have your standards. And, you know, if you don't feel you're enough, you are always going to settle for something. You are always going to settle for something. Whatever you want is within your reach, and being different isn't a bad thing. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I am going to pop a link below to subscribe to my newsletter, because I'm going to be launching a free style and confidence growth guide to anybody that subscribes. You'll be getting it right to your inbox. And obviously you'll get your weekly subscriber email as usual. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope it made sense. And if you've got any questions about self-love, please message me. Reach out to me. I'd love to help you. I won't be charging for it. It would just purely be, you know, to help you start this journey towards being more confident and loving yourself. And for anybody that's in the Style Hub, tomorrow I will be doing a live Q&A with your on your Tuesday night expert video, where you can ask me anything at all about my journey, anything you picked up from this video that you might want details on. It's been a journey, but you know what? It was so worth it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Monday at 2. Bye.